Attention Idaho and California residents. If you're shopping for a mortgage, contact PacFi, a mortgage brokerage with the top wholesale lenders in the nation. They are committed to simplifying the mortgage process, saving you time and money. Call 858-442-7048 or visit pacfi.com. NMLS number 1462943, Equal Housing Lender. Welcome to the Alcohol Tipping Point podcast. I am your host, Debbie Maisner. I am a registered nurse, health coach, and alcohol-free badass. Today, I have Instagram star and influencer. Do you like that description, Matt?
Why not? I love it.
Matt Pink with me. He is the author of Better Me, Better You. He is alcohol-free and he is just very helpful, has great content on Instagram at Better Life Guy. And he is calling in from England. Where are you at in England?
I'm just outside London.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so a long way away from you.
Yeah, so I'm glad we could coordinate our time zones and everything, and I love the accent. Really appreciate you being here, Matt.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so yeah, I'm mainly known on the Instagram. I'm known under the name Better Life Guy, and that account started like a year ago, just nearly a year ago actually, and it really took off last year. And because I'm trying to make sobriety fun. I'm trying to make it colourful. I'm trying to make it interesting, and I'm also talking a lot about everything that isn't not drinking. So, exercise, nutrition, connection, etc. I think all of these things are really important. That's why I wrap it up under the name of Better Life Guy rather than like the sober guy. So yeah, I'm living my authentic life through Instagram, and just taking as many people on the journey with me as possible. And that's led to me writing a book. I've written a book that came out at the back end of last year, Better Me, Better You, and that's done really well. That was a bestseller on Amazon for the first few weeks, so that was really really cool. And then this year, new events. I'm doing some big events in London. I've got some things up my sleeve which I'm going to be doing and releasing soon. And yeah, I'm just mega excited to be in the sober space because I really feel like it's the place to be right now, and it's only going to get bigger and better.
Well, congratulations on your success and how far you've come. And I just love your positivity and injecting, like you said, that maybe you didn't use the word joy, but just what was your wording about sober and sobriety?
I was trying to just make it fun
and
like
that's what I was looking for. And colorful. Yes, fun and colorful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I just feel like, historically sobriety is one of them things where it is like which has this place, don't get me wrong, but it's like sitting around in a circle talking about your past, and that works for many people, but I've figured out that doesn't work for everyone, and some people just want to just stop drinking and live a bit of life. They just don't know how to do it. They don't know what to do. So I'm trying to work on myself and do it myself, and then just trying to explain that to other people and just making it fun because life's too short.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you don't mind sharing a bit about your past and your relationship with alcohol, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, my story, hence the reason I wrote a book, it's quite lengthy and it's quite deep. So if you want the full version, go and buy the book, because I won't bore you with a half an hour answer. But essentially, I kind of would class myself as a normal drinker in the UK, which, I'm 38 years old. So we had parents that everyone had parents that drank every week. There wasn't, that was kind of what happened at the weekend. It's just what everyone did. So I grew up and thought that's what kind of I would do, and that's just passed down through generations, and that's a very normal lifestyle in England. So I went through and kind of got a good job, and my life consisted of working hard at the week and having a few drinks at the weekend, but nothing out of the ordinary. And then as I got into sort of my late 20s, I got married and had my first child. And then I was probably drinking a bit more than ever because, it's like with the stresses of children and marriage and money and, better, more money and better job, which means it's more stress.
Mm-hmm.
And then had my second child in 2012. It was a boy, so I kind of married, boy and a girl, 2.4 children, happy life. Again, drinking pretty normally. And then in 2013, my son tragically died of what we call SIDS, which is sudden
Mm-hmm.
infant death syndrome, which is also known as like cot death and various other things. But he died at the age of 4.5 months, and it was obviously out of the blue. And my relationship with alcohol then really changed overnight. It went from like something that I'd wanted to do to something I kind of needed to do. As obviously I struggled to deal with the sort of acute pain of it, and also everybody around me was crumbling, so I didn't really have anyone to lean on. So I kind of went down the route of, okay, someone told me that time's a healer. So I thought to myself naively that, okay, if that's the case, then let's just, drink my way through the days and work hard. And then I'll come out in 2 years' time and everything will be all right, because time goes quicker when you drink. And that's kind of what I did. And obviously that didn't go down well. That led to me just causing a problem for myself. Now, when I say I was drinking through I was still holding down a good job, and I was putting everything into that job. But what I was doing as soon as I finished that job was focusing on where can I get a drink. And then I'd be drinking for as long as I felt right in the night, and then I'd be waking up a bit cranky, getting through the job, eat again, and then the next day kind of doing the same thing. And that went on for a period of years. And then, ultimately came out of that pretty, heavy in weight, pretty light in the pocket, leading on to other things like doing drugs and smoking, because I wasn't really getting the same hit as I was getting from alcohol after a while. I ended up getting divorced and kind of pretty much lost all respect for myself because I was just drinking, and that was kind of my main focus. And then when I kind of lost everything, I'd lost my family home, and the divorce was all done. I was at kind of a bit of a rock bottom moment where I was like kind of pretty much okay if it all ended. I wouldn't say I didn't try to like kill myself or anything, but it was pretty dark. And then I had this weird like spiritual visit. I'd been to a spiritualist to see a medium when he had died,
Mm-hmm.
shortly after he had died, and I'd had an amazing experience. And again, I won't go into the details, but essentially it made me really believe it, because I never really believed it before. But I was kind of at a loss and I was a bit desperate. I really found some good quality help, and I felt a bit lighter when I came out of it. They said to me that, look, if we ever need you again, we'll come to you. And then on my one day when I was at kind of rock bottom moment outside a bar in London, and this guy came up to me and started out the street, just out of nowhere. And he was talking to me about how I need to stop drinking, I need to stop smoking, stop doing my bad habits, I need to live a better life, I need to there's a girl I'd started seeing, and who is now my wife. And he said, you need to go with her, you need to be with her, she's good for you. Told me all of this crazy stuff about my life. And really, like, for the first time in a long time, made me feel like, actually, I can do something in this life. I need to sort myself out. And then I ended up moving in with Kirsty. And then, we kind of gradually, I stopped drinking, like maybe every night. I'd stop drinking a couple of nights a week, started going for a run every now and again, started to basically talk everything that I'd held in and not been able to talk to anyone about before. I started to talk to Kirsty about, because she was someone new, she was someone independent, and she was someone that I really liked. So I was finding myself drinking and talking. But every time I was talking to her, I felt like I was getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and I was getting a bit of a load off my back. And that built up over time, a couple of years, into basically me ended up having quite big gaps from drinking. So I'd go 5-6 days without a drink, and then I'd still drink at the weekend. And but then I was kind of like, you know what, this is not serving me anymore. I've got a new life, I've got a new wife, I've got a new chance in life, and I feel good when I don't drink. So then I started to explore the world of sort of alcohol-free sobriety, found loads of people online, found loads of people on Instagram. And eventually, when it came to lockdown, the first lockdown in April 2020, I just gave up on the spot. Just decided one morning I woke up, that's it, I'm done. And that was April the 21st, 2020. And I haven't really looked back since. So now, obviously, I'm sober for like coming on for 2 years. Never been in better shape, never been in better shape financially, mentally, physically, relationshiply, parentally, like in every way possible. And that's why I wrote the book, because I came back from arguably the darkest thing that could happen to a person, to where I am now. And I kind of want to inspire people and say, look, if you're going through a shitty day, then you can get out of it. Trust me. And also my book is how I got out of it. So it's kind of a step-by-step guide of, this is what I did, this is what you could do. Hence the name Better Me, Better You. So that is a long answer, but hopefully that covers the main points.
Yeah, I think, and that was a lead into, I was going to ask about your book, Better Me, Better You. So it is about your life, how you changed your life, and sounds like it has some practical advice for those looking to change their relationship with alcohol.
Yeah, for sure. So the first like quarter of it maybe is like my life story about what I've just explained, basically, but in a bit more detail, just to give context to the book. And then the bulk of the book is in the style Better Me, Better You. So I've broken it down chronologically what I did. So started with like mindset, for example. Then I wrote down my mindset and how that journey unfolded from the worst mindset to where I am now. And then I've done Better You as the next section. So then it's mindset, Better You. So here's what I would suggest you could do. And some really practical tips, hints, tricks, and just like advice really on mindset. And then it's, once you get that sorted, go to the next page, which is whatever the next page is. It could be connection, environment. There's loads of different sections to it. But the idea being, if you just take a few points from each section, you really will see like a significant improvement in your life. And it covers everything from mind, body, and soul. So it's quite comprehensive. And that kind of, it's an enabler that someone could pick it up, read it kind of in a night. Someone could pick it up and read it, put it down various times. It's easy to do that with. And also it's a great gift, excuse me, to give someone who is in a bit of a sticky situation, but doesn't know how to get out of it, or they're in a sticky situation and you don't know how to talk to them about it. It's a great gift, and that's what a lot of people did over a Christmas. And I'm starting to really get some good comments and feedback from those gifts at Christmas now from people. So it's really nice, really motivating.
Yeah, and congratulations on nearing 2 years and having a book and your success. What would
Thank
you
you.
say? It sounds like your book is full of tips, but if you had to pick a couple, what would you say are your top tips?
So for going sober.
Yeah.
So my advice to people is always use alcohol-free alternatives for a start. Now, again, like I alluded to with AA meetings, I think they're very good for certain people at the end of the spectrum. But there's a lot of people like me that just wanted to stop drinking and live a better life. And I could do that on my own, and I wasn't getting any professional help for it. And I think if you use alcohol-free drinks, for example, I think they're helping so many millions of people, and it's such a lucrative market now. But again, don't use them if you're heavily reliant on alcohol, I would suggest. But I just wanted to sort of caveat that. But alcohol-free drinks are my savior. I don't think I'd have been able to do it without them. So I think the advice I give to people is just use them. And if you need to use them a lot over the first few months, just do it, because you're like weaning yourself off the real stuff. And they really help bridge the gap. So that's the first thing. The second thing I always do is exercise. I was a massive I'm a massive fan of running in particular. I find it really therapeutic. I enjoy it, feel good after it. It releases all the right hormones in your brain. It makes you, I feel more connected with the world. So I always suggest people go running or do some form of exercise. And the third thing I would say is well, there's so many things, but I think journaling's really useful. Journaling down how you feel, like how do you feel in your mind, how do you feel physically, mentally, how do you sleep, what's on your mind, and just getting it down on paper really helps to understand what's going on in your mind. And I found that really useful as well. Connecting with other sober people is also massive, and that's one of the things I used when I first became sober curious. And that's been really helpful for me. And I've now got my own sort of network of people which I go to, and they go to me. So the world of sober Instagram, I think, just shouldn't be overlooked. I think it's huge. I think if you can really lean into that, follow as many accounts as you can, and also kind of like stop looking at the accounts that are leading you down the wrong path, you can really change your environment and change what goes into your mind, and therefore that will control what sort of temptations you could get as well. So they're probably the main ones.
Yeah, I think sober Instagram is so interesting to me. When I first joined it, made my alcohol tipping point account, I naively thought, I really wasn't on Instagram, but I was like, I bet there's only like 2 other sober accounts. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, I would encourage, it's one of those areas of social media that is good. Like,
Yeah,
social media gets a bad rap for a lot of good reasons, but sober Instagram and just following these different accounts and seeing different people sharing their lives, sharing funny things, sharing helpful things, like it really is a positive part of social media and can really help people on their journey with alcohol.
100% agree. And also, it's really weird you say that, because when I went running in my early days, when I was thinking about going sober, I had a, I had a sort of a light bulb moment come to me when I was running, which often happens to me actually. And I was like, came back in and said to my missus, I was like, I got a great idea. I'm going to start an Instagram account, and I'm going to do it about not drinking, and I'm going to make it really fun. And I don't think anyone else is doing it. So I think I've got in there early. There's literally no one who does it. And I was going to call myself Matt Pink No Drink. I was like, I've got the name and everything. I'm going to smash it. And that's when I started looking at accounts, and I was like, okay, maybe there's like 5 or 6. Okay, maybe there's 10 or 12. And then I was like, okay, there's a lot, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I thought exactly the same as you, but I think everyone's naive to niches, right? I think there's a niche for everything these days, and I'm sure if there's plenty of Instagram accounts about it as well.
Well, I think what I really like about it is that you're not alone. And I think with drinking and having a problem with drinking or changing your drinking, like you mentioned, it's been so normal for you growing up. It's so normalized here in America. So it does really feel like you're alone. You really, I mean, it's eye-opening, and I think that connection with other people is so helpful.
100%. That's what I'm trying to build myself. I'm just trying to figure out how to put it in one house. But I think what I do, like every other month, I do a masterclass where I essentially teach people how to go sober,
Mhm.
which is a bit like what my book says, but kind of bringing it to life practically. And it's really weird because since I did the first one last year, I found that we've met up, a lot of us that are local, and we've like become really good friends. And I think the connection between people that I have in my masterclasses has really been surprising to me. And some of my closest friends now are sober people that I've met through Instagram, and it's like I tried to unpick it, and it's like I think it is exactly that everyone drinks everywhere you look, family, friends, whatever it is, whatever occasion it is, it's just drenched in drink. And when you stop, it's an awfully courageous thing to do. And then you're also doing it on your own. So I think,
Mm.
the people that could do it before the world of Instagram, hats off to, because that's incredible. But the people that do it now, it is a lot easier because you can find your people, find your connections, and you'll often find that you'll find some of the best friends you ever have, because it's a powerful thing to do going sober. And I just find myself connected so strong to like sober people, and I think it's the feeling's mutual. So I think the more we can build this amazing community, the more we can sort of shift the needle in the right direction and make a big impact on the world ultimately.
Yeah, we're making our new norm.
Yeah.
And a cult. Just kidding.
Well, yeah, you can't call it that.
I read, oh shoot, Kate Gunn wrote The Accidental Soberista, and she is from Ireland, and she talked about going from one cult, like the cult of drinking, and into another cult, and the cult of sobriety. So it always kind of makes me chuckle when I hear that word.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, isn't it? Because everyone feels so passionately about it, and everyone's flying the same flag, and it's like we're all just saying the same thing every day to the same people, and we just can't get enough of it, because we pick up strangers along the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're tribal creatures. Like, we want to belong to a tribe. Humans want their people. We're pack animals, right?
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Exactly. We want to. I still think that's so relevant. Now I hear that a lot, and I've read that a lot in books about that sort of like needing to be with, and not wanting to be excluded from the tribe, and not wanting to be in something to feel safe. And I think you do feel unsafe when you first go sober, because you're vulnerable, you're isolated, you're on your own. And when you find that big family of sober people, it's like such a big warm welcome, and it feels so comforting. So yeah, I think that's really right.
What would you say to people who kind of lose their motivation? As far, because it is really exciting at first, and it's new, and you're making all these changes, and then it kind of and then it becomes your new norm. Like, what advice do you have there?
Well, I always say to people that you got to create a vision of who you want to be in the future. And I think that's what people lack. So if you go sober, for example, and you don't create a vision of who you want to be in the future, then you're essentially living the same life you lived before, just without drink. And that requires a lot of willpower. And it doesn't necessarily give you a very happy outcome. It'll give you a healthier outcome, but you could become quite frustrated, quite lost, and you might end up back where you started. So I always say to people, you've got to create a vision. And I've got a clear vision of where, again, this is in the book, but I've got a clear vision of where I want to be in the future. And all I'm doing now every day is I'm making sure I'm working towards that vision, whether that's how I look, how I act, how much money I've got, what I do for a living, whatever it is. I reference check the future guy, the future version of me, to see if I'm aligned. If I'm aligned, we're good, we go. If we're not, we don't. And therefore, I know that I'm always working towards a goal. And that's what people lack. I think there's so many people that are just driving around. I always use the analogy that like so many people are just driving around their car, going around in circles for 20 years. They don't know where they're going. But if you just plug in something into your sat nav and you know you're going in the right direction, off you go. If there's bumps in the road, if the roads are closed, if whatever happens, you still know that you're heading in the right direction. So I think it's really important that to keep motivated, you've got to keep moving forward. And to keep moving forward, you've got to make sure you're moving forward in the right direction. And to do that, you've got to have a direction. And to do that, you need a vision. So I think you can afford to be quite creative. You can afford to be confident in what you're asking for and looking for and visualizing. And there's nothing stopping you, because ultimately, once you're sober, it's all down to you. You've got more time in the day. You've got more motivation and more energy. You can become whoever you want to become. You just got to make sure you put the plan in place, and that will then keep you motivated as well.
I love that analogy of putting in the GPS in your car, and instead of just driving around aimlessly.
Yeah. So just what a lot of people are doing, though.
What would you say are your top tips for someone who with cravings? I feel like that is a huge just issue, like cravings, urges. What are some of your advice with that?
I'd say alcohol-free drinks again.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'd say keep busy, put loads of things in your diary, start a new hobby, go to the gym, learn Spanish, whatever it is. Do something new. Because if you do something new, A, it gives you a focus, B, it gives you something to work towards, and C, it uses up the valuable time that you would normally be drinking. Because if you don't fill that time, it'll get filled for you, and that's where danger creeps in. So, yeah, I'd say cravings are only there because you're either not working towards something, or you're allowing yourself too much spare time to think, or you're still just sitting in the same environment and you haven't moved on. Because when you go sober, you can move on, like I said, to be whoever and whatever you want to be. If you don't do that, though, then you'll get pulled back to your like inevitable past because of the subconscious programming. Where you've done the same thing for so long, for so many years. You know, it's good. If you sit still for enough days, it's just going to pull you back to doing what you've always done, and then you're going to get what you've always got.
And the other common issue that seems to be coming up lately is having a partner that drinks. Do you have experience with that or any advice with that?
Yeah. Do you know what? I always say going sober is a solo mission,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't do it alone. And what I mean by that is you can't do it for your partner. You can't do it for anyone. You got to do it for you, by you. You've got to do it on. If it means you got to do it on your own, you got to do it on your own. But unfortunately, obviously, it's very difficult if your partner drinks, and especially if they're not going to like it, because obviously a lot of people feel threatened when you give up drinking, and they're not going to like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very difficult. And I'm in a very fortunate place where my wife gave up on the day that I gave up. She just said, "I'll do it with you," and that was obviously mega supportive of her, and that's really worked out well for me. So I don't actually have any experience of it myself, but all I do know is that from the people I speak to and the people I help, is that you've got to do it all for yourself, and ultimately it's going to benefit everybody in the long run. But you do face an initial sort of resistance in many cases, which is unfortunate. But you know, it's a test of a relationship, and it was even a test of a relationship when me and my wife went sober together, because you go from living one lifestyle together to completely a new one. So you got to figure it out, and we've come through it, and we're stronger than ever. And I think that's really fortunate. But yeah, I think for people that have got partners that drink, I feel for them, but I think you've got to remember that you're doing it for yourself, and ultimately you're doing it for the best for your family eventually.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to your alcohol-free drink alternatives, what are some of your favorite drinks?
I'm going for a phase in the minute where I'm like trying different things. Like
Mm-hmm.
they just opened an alcohol-free off license in London, and I know the girls in there who work there, and so I keep going in, and I keep it's such a cool store because they let you try it all, so you can literally walk in on your lunch break, you can try whatever you like. And then I've ended up, because I've done that, I've been buying so much stuff from them, and I'm just still into my spirits because I'm like just playing around with it really. But I love the alcohol-free beers. I love all of them. There's one called Unlimited, which is only available in the UK, but they're bringing it over to America in the summer. Sorry, let me just have a drink.
It made you thirsty.
Yeah, they're making me. It's water though. So yeah, there's loads. Honestly, I could list off. It's easier for me to list the beers I don't like, which is Beck's Blue for a start. That just tastes like petrol. But I love all the beers. I love the spirit wise. I used to love Captain Morgan's rum, spiced rum, and a clean liquor over here. They do a nice spiced rum. There's a brand called Liars that are doing really nice spirits. Yeah, there's not really much. I find the gins, I don't really get on with the gins too much, but I wasn't a massive fan of gin anyway. I've got a bottle of tequila that someone sent me as a thank you for doing a live with them. That came today, so I've got some sort of cocktail recipes I'm going to do this weekend, which I think's another benefit of sobriety, because you can enjoy trying new drinks that you wouldn't have drunk before, and they generally taste quite nice rather than sort of really strong. So yeah, I'm a fan of all of it. I think the wines are still some work to do on like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
still wines, especially like the reds and the whites.
Yeah. I agree.
But that'll come.
Yeah, I find NA, non-alcohol, just alcohol-free alternatives to be really, really helpful. I know for some people they are triggering, but I mean, like we talked about, it's a habit and we're such ritualistic creatures, there is something to be said of just coming home, acknowledging the difference between your work day and your home day and pouring yourself a drink. Like, it doesn't even have to be an alcohol drink. It's just that ritual, that habit of having a drink to signal the end of your work day.
Exactly, yeah. And I still, that's why I still enjoy it. And I feel like when I first did it, I was drinking so many of them. Now I do it and I can have kind of one and it's enough. I just feel like you say, it's the difference between day and night. It's the difference between being an adult. It's that, yeah, you just feel like a
Yes.
grown up. You don't feel
Yeah.
like you're missing out. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the grown up. Like, I want to have a drink that my kids aren't going to have. I want to have a grown up drink. That's so
Yeah,
interesting that we want a grown up drink, whatever that
yeah.
means.
I,
Okay.
yeah, it just feels like you're missing out, I guess, if not. Like,
Mhm.
because you can still have a beer, you can still have a glass of wine. Like, really, there. If when you really paint a picture, it's not. You can do it. We're so fortunate to live in this era where you can have all that, and it's so readily available. So, I don't see any harm in it at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I was randomly up at the ski mountain we have here, and was walking by some guys out because people ski and then they tailgate, and it's kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do? But they were drinking NA beer, and I was like, is that an NA beer? Just to these random guys, and he's like, yeah, you want one? And then it was just like we talked about, being part of the group and just standing around and having an NA beer and making conversation. Obviously, we can do it without the NA beer or whatever, but it's some kind of tool, some kind of prop.
Yeah, it's like a signal that, hey,
Yeah.
we're here. We would like we let's have a chat. We're at a social event. Let's talk.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, no, that's brilliant, and that's happening more and more here as well. You're seeing that a lot. People drinking non-alcoholic beers on their lunch break because there's nothing worse, is there? Like, I used to go for a few drinks at lunch, and you feel like if you go back to your work like tipsy or whatever, and then halfway through the afternoon you just feel like you want to go to sleep. And this
Oh,
wise people are
yeah. Oh, daytime
there's nothing
drinking.
there's nothing worse than that. So this really helps because you go out for a beer, you go to the office or whatever you're doing, and you feel great. And you can still go to the gym in the evening or drive home.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm curious, Matt, like how, because you've really gone all into this alcohol-free world. Like, is this your full-time job? Did you change positions? Like, how is that? How is it all fitting into your life now?
So I know I actually work in the fashion industry in central London, and I've done that for a
Wow.
number of years, and that's my like bread and butter. That's what I do, and I absolutely love it. And I've been doing that for a long time. It's really second nature to me, and I love the people I work with and the brand I work for. And it was only this really kicked off, like I said, in the lockdown last year, so nearly a year ago, that I started this when I was furloughed from work, and I kind of just wanted to start my own Instagram. I thought, why not? And I didn't anticipate it becoming such a big thing. I thought it would do well, but I didn't think it would do this well. Um, but luckily, because of the nature of the work I do, and because of the fact that I'm alcohol free, I've got so much time in my day that I can afford to wrap it into. I can do both, and I can do both enjoyably, comfortably, and to a good standard. So, as far as I'm going now, I think my long term future will be into sobriety. I think it'll be alcohol free. I think it'll be social media. What I don't really know. I do my own events. I do my own masterclasses. I've got a book, so that's great achievement. It's really building my confidence and my credibility in the industry. But I'm just keep going. I've got challenges for myself this year. See what happens. If it takes off, I'll go down that route. But I've got my job that I enjoy as well. So I'm in a really fortunate position.
Yeah, it's like this is the icing on your cake.
Yeah, and it's my giving back. Like in
Mm-hmm.
my job, it's not that much about giving back. I think that's what I miss in life generally. I think I discovered that in recent years, and now that I've started to give back, it gives you something that no other job can give you, because it's just so rewarding. It fills you with purpose, and that's why I love it, and that's why it makes me feel all round as better human now, because I've got that both. I've got a really good professional job that I love, and I've got the giving back side to it that I do as almost a hobby. But yeah, it makes me feel really good.
Yeah, that purpose in your life and having a meaningful life and the community again. I feel like that's the theme. I'm really on to the tribal thing today. So,
Yeah, you're right, though. You're right. It's a massive thing, and I'm just trying to figure out how I can. I've got so many ideas about how I can get people. I've got a good amount of followers, but what can I do to bring people together, and how can I make it like easy to access and affordable, and all those
mm-hmm.
questions. So I'm just sort of drilling that down in the background now, and just going to hopefully come out with something quite interesting in the spring.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
Well, how can people find you?
So yeah, Instagram, better life guy, better_life_guy. I am on Facebook as Better Life Guy. Doesn't get used as much as Instagram. I am predominantly on Instagram. I've got a website which is betterlifeguy.com. And how else can you find me? I guess you could read my book, which is available on Amazon, which is called Better Me, Better You. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great. And I will put those in the show notes so that y'all can find Matt and follow him and join our cult on Instagram.
Come join us.
One of us. Okay. Well, thank you again, Matt, for taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Time's gone so quickly. And thanks for everything that you're doing in the community as well. This is great.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a wonderful day. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Alcohol Tipping Point. I'm always here for you guys, so please feel free to reach out and talk to me on Instagram at Alcohol Tipping Point, and check out my website, alcoholtippingpoint.com. Again, I hope you can use these tips we talked about for the rest of your week. And until then, see you next time.